All right, coming up on 8/11, I think we have reestablished our Zoom connection now. Dr. Tim Mousseau from the University of South Carolina joining us now, who's done extensive research in the affected areas of Ukraine, especially the Chernobyl site. Dr. Mousseau, we've got you. Good morning.
Good to be here. Nice to see you again.
Okay, great. Listen, thanks for your patience. I'm glad we got this working. Listen, you've been on with us before. You've got colleagues, you've got friends that are over in Ukraine. And before we kind of break down the site of the nuclear disaster and what that means now, so many years later, how are your friends doing, your associates that are still over there? Have they been able to escape the area?
So yeah, most of my colleagues who were in the danger zone have managed to escape. One of my colleagues was right in the heart of Chernobyl at the time, and he and his wife managed to get out of there, and they're on their way to the border right now. So hopefully, there's a few people that are still sitting in Kiev waiting to see what happens before leaving their possessions, their whole life behind. But the folks that have been able to move have moved to areas of safety, and there's a few that actually want to come to visit the U.S. and move here at least temporarily until things calm down in Ukraine.
Dr. Mousseau, when we spoke to you, it was day 1 or 2 of this conflict. Here we are at day 49. We know that the Russians have left the Chernobyl site. Are you getting reports of what that site looks like now after weeks of them being there?
Yes, finally, the Ukrainians have managed to get back into the zone. It was no easy task. The Russians actually took out most of the bridges on their as they retreated. They also left landmines along the roadsides, and so it's a very dangerous place to visit at this point. But yeah, some of my colleagues have managed to get back into the zone as of just a few days ago, and have been scouting around to see what the extent of the damage is. It's been it's pretty overwhelming. They basically vandalized and stole anything they possibly could. It's a complete disaster zone.
Well, and we're hearing that they took souvenirs, if you will, of some contaminated evidence, vials, or whatever it is that they may have. Help us understand. So you've got this 20-mile exclusion zone, right? That was sort of this disaster site after the Chernobyl incident back in '86. You got the ground beneath it. So for years, you've got contaminated ground. It's almost like, I'm paraphrasing here, the Russians came in, didn't care the warnings that were given, dug trenches. What are they susceptible to now that they've left that area? What does this do to the human body, what's left?
Right. Clearly there's no such thing as, good radiation. It's all bad. And the effects on the human body are directly proportional to the dose that you get. And certainly some of these soldiers had dug trenches near the roads. They'd set up blockades, and we're sitting in some of the most radioactive places on the planet for days and perhaps even weeks. And certainly these soldiers are likely to have received a dose significant enough to lead to health issues later down the road. But some of these soldiers also ransacked some of the laboratories in this region, which were containing some very, very concentrated radioactive materials that have been speculated that could be used for dirty bombs, for instance. And apparently many of these soldiers who were picking up these souvenirs in little vials, not realizing just how radioactive these sources were, have been sent to the hospital in Belarus to be treated. And certainly some of them are likely to have received a dose significant enough to perhaps even end their lives in relatively short order. So it's unbelievably stupid activity given the nature of the site and just how dangerous the area is. The other issue were the fires that were burning. Again, when you have this many men sitting around cooking and keeping warm, many fires were set off in some of the most radioactive areas, and they undoubtedly inhaled some of this radioactive material as a result of that. So only time will tell just how many of these soldiers were contaminated and what sort of doses they may have received, but clearly very, very hazardous activity.
Well, even your own lab there with some of your research was ransacked.
Indeed, the soldiers went through the entire area, basically breaking down doors of any building that looked like it might have anything at all. They broke into my laboratory in the town of Chernobyl itself, and luckily they didn't burn it down. They didn't break the windows, but they broke down the door, and it looks like they have stolen anything they could basically carry out of it, including the microwave oven, among other things, and the coffee pot. And so we're worried about some of the equipment we had stored there, for some of it being very, very expensive. But hopefully the building seems to be largely intact, and we'll be able to get back to work once things calm down in Ukraine, if they do.
Well, and what kind of work will continue there? Starting now that this is back under Ukraine control, and following, what kind of work will we see there if so much of this is damaged?
Indeed, the main task, of course, for the Ukrainians at this point is just to clean the mess up. The Russians left an unbelievable mess. They broke, smashed every window they possibly could. They left carcasses of vehicles everywhere, and so the cleanup work will be ongoing for years, more than likely. In terms of biological research, which is our main interest, we will hopefully, we have had quite a number of cameras in the zone monitoring the wildlife of the area, and we've also been involved in the Dogs of Chernobyl program, where we're actually bringing dog food into the zone right now to deal with some of these domestic animals that were left behind, and as well as humanitarian supplies, medical supplies, and food for the folks that are working there as well. But the cleanup's going to take years. Hopefully we'll be able to monitor what's happened to the wildlife as a result of this massive disturbance, and with any luck, we'll be able to get back to doing some of the science that we have been doing for the last 20 years. But everything's up in the air, obviously, at this point.
Well, it's such a volatile situation. Another nuclear site in the country is still under Russian control. What are the implications and potentially the consequences if some of these materials get into the wrong hands and are used?
I think the largest risk at this point is that there is some sort of damage to an operating nuclear reactor. If there is a stray missile or a deliberate attack on an operating nuclear facility, of which there are several in Ukraine, including the one that's currently being occupied, which is the largest reactor in Europe, or nuclear power plant in Europe. The risk here is that there will be a meltdown and the release of vast quantities of radioactivity from this reactor, including, most importantly, perhaps, iodine-131, which is a natural decay product of the result of fission of uranium. And at the time of the Chernobyl accident in 1986, huge amounts of this iodine was released and was taken up by the children living in the areas surrounding it, most importantly in Ukraine and in Belarus. And there were over 10,000 thyroid cancer cases in the children living in these areas. And this, the people of this area still feel the health impacts of this epidemic of thyroid cancers. And so another project that we're trying to get started at the moment is to get as much potassium iodine, which is a sort of a prophylactic against the potential release of this radioactive iodine, to help prevent thyroid cancers in children should there be an accident at one of these other operating nuclear power plants. This is a huge, huge issue at the moment.
Wow. Thank you for your time today. We're glad that it's back under the Chernobyl site that I'm referring to. Glad that it's back under Ukraine control there. And our thoughts and prayers to your friends, your associates and colleagues that are still over there, wherever they may be in their journey to safety. We hope that they get there. And we appreciate your time and your willingness to kind of discuss the severity of all that's taken place.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mousseau from the University of South Carolina.